My player will not stop nagging me about how I run my game. I'm DMing on my first campaign, Curse of Strahd. Before that, I've been a player since 2019. Last session was our 6th or 7th I suppose. One of my players, just the one of them, keeps arguing with me about some meaningless points. Complaints about half of the NPCs are insignificant and judging my conduct of running the game. Allegedly I am wasting so much time on chatting and idle talking. He is an experienced DM. 5 years ago, I played for a year on his campaign back then. Now he is playing my game. Couple of sessions ago, they went down the last dungeon level of Death House, which is the boss fight area of Shambling Mound. Next to the boss room, there are a couple prison cells. One of the cell's walls has a secret wall which opens to the boss room. There is a secret door on a stone wall. They passed the perception check and tried to open the wall from inside the cell. My goal in my head was that there is a door that they know of, but they will eventually find out that this wall is not going to be their escape route. In my plan, they were going to try to open that door from the prison side, but it won't open, as it could open from the other side. They go into the boss room. Didn't try the door from inside the boss room. They triggered the boss fight before they even remembered the door. In the middle of the fight they tried to open the door but it wouldn't open due to a failed STR check. The player who is mentioned above, argued that their detect magic should have detected that door. He was mentioning before they entered into the prison cell, they casted detect magic to something out of context. But I was thinking that the door does not have a magical mechanism, no magical material of some sort. When the boss fight triggered, their pet tried to run out from the room through the main entrance, but was prevented by dark silhouettes of specters. In my idea, the door was shut/stuck by the same creatures, preventing them from leaving the boss area. He bummed me off so bad. He just wouldn't shut up about how detect magic should have worked. He should trust the system. I was depriving him of his chances to trust the system, etc. In last session, they went to some crossroads and passed it and reached the Zerpool camp, the main event in the campaign which determines the main quest lines of the entire story. I have worked and prepared so hard previously on that day. Prepared different family names with individual wagon decoratives, sitting schematic around campfire, information that campfire folks give, spies in camp, ambush in the night, seers dialogues with each PC, individual tarot readings and background related info about each of the party members, etc. On one hand, I love acting my NPCs and roleplaying them with accents, gestures and mimics. I like to roleplay each NPC with a decent character and want them to be memorable. Even the NPCs which have no significant role in any story arcs, solely because I love it. I love roleplaying entirely different characters and getting to socially interact with PCs. Of course, this same player got bored of this and listed out a laundry list of his own complaints that sounded like personal issues. He claimed that I was keeping them in dialogue so much, to the point of wasting our time. Nobody except him told me that in this campaign. For reference, we have 4 other players besides him and I've known them all for 5 years. None of them would go light on me if they thought I was doing a poop job of running this campaign. He essentially decides for the group at this point let's go back to pool camp. They reached the camp, got close to the entrance. The second leader of the campfolk was dealing with some buckets of water, daily chores. NPC who we'll call Bob said hello. The player does not even say proper hello to Bob because he is bored of my NPCs. Tried to pass him rudely and tried to go to the seer's tent, where the main event will happen. I didn't let him pass the Bob so carelessly and rudely. Wanted to get them interact with the Bob, expected them to sit around the campfire and chat a little bit with the folk at least. Because the campfolk are not so insignificant in the setting of campaign. We argued a little bit on this choice and he eventually decided to walk out of the campaign for that day. Of course I would not let him disrespect my style of running the campaign. The others stayed and enjoyed some nice RP while this deekhead seethed about not wanting to engage in all of the aspects of the game. We'll only clock out when allowed. I work as a technician that does jobs in residential homes. We get several jobs on our routes at the beginning of the day. After we are done with our jobs we send a message to our manager and the route service rep. If I am done early and another tech is running behind they will send that job to me. If there are no jobs left to be covered we are cleared and we can head back. We also work 4 10-hour shift days with the option to pick up a 5th day for overtime and choose between a half or a full day. Now to the story. I like picking up 5th days for a little extra overtime. On one of the days I picked up, I had a family dinner I didn't want to miss, so I made it a half day. It was a busy day and I didn't get to my last job until about 2:30. Lucky for me the customer wasn't home and the job got rescheduled. I messaged my manager and route service rep that I was done. I was cleared by the service rep but not the manager. I didn't think much about it since I was meant to be off 2 hours earlier, and they never add more jobs to you after your scheduled shift. So I just headed back to the office and clocked out and made it to my family dinner. The next day I opened my work phone to find a message from my manager an hour after I clocked out that day stating you are not allowed to clock out unless cleared by a manager. At first I was like, oh crap, I must have forgotten to add him to the message. I checked and no, I definitely added him and it shows he saw the message. So I took a screenshot of both messages and thought to myself of how I could make this hell for him. If I don't get cleared I won't clock out. So every day since then I have made sure I was cleared by a manager. Honestly most of the time all managers are really good at being on top of this, so I didn't think I would ever get to take advantage of this malicious compliance. But about a month later I finally got my chance. On this fateful day it was a busy one and it was winter and we were getting some bad snow. I had several big jobs and was behind schedule. Finally after finishing my last job at almost 8 p.m. I messaged the same manager that gave me that rule and the route service rep that I was done. I started heading back, wanting to get out of the snow and get home. I got home about 8:30 and I still wasn't cleared by my manager. So I didn't clock out. I messaged him again, Asked him if he could clear me so I could clock out. No answer. I sat and debated how much I can milk this. After all, I do get paid hourly. Well, I didn't want to abuse it too much, so I ended up calling him just before 9. He picked up confused. I told him I've been waiting for him to clear me. Still confused, he responded, yeah, of course you're cleared. I reminded him that he instructed me to not clock out until after I was cleared by a manager, then I thanked him, hung up, and noted in the message thread I called the manager and was cleared. It's been several months since then, and to this day that manager still sticks to everything he says, and to this day I still milk an extra 15 to 30 minutes of pay every time a manager forgets to clear me before I remind them. Business class upgrade if there is room. I used to work at a regional airline. The jet we used for our flight to the big city had 6 business class seats. The business class service was really good for a 2-hour flight. It included a full bar service, a hot meal, warmed bread basket, followed by a trolley with dessert and signature coffee. The good old days. One of our regular travelers was a local business owner who was just a slimy businessman, that I'll abbreviate to SB. He had a reputation for making a lot of money from some pretty shady deals over the years. We would roll our eyes when we saw him coming to the check-in counter because he would always name drop and ask for special treatment. He always used the business class check-in line even though he was usually in economy. He didn't have frequent flyer status, but he was buddies with one of the airline executives and always let us know this fact when he checked in by making sure to tell us that he was good friends with Vice President Karen. He would always ask for free upgrades, extra baggage, not charging a change fee, last-minute discounts, etc. If he didn't get what he wanted, he immediately called VP Karen, who would usually then call us and approve whatever it was he wanted. So one day SB checks in for his flight to the big city and of course name drops and asks for a free upgrade to business class because I'm friends with VP Karen and said it would be okay. He was traveling on a discounted ticket that was not eligible for upgrade even if he did have an upgrade coupon, which he didn't. I informed him that he was not eligible for any upgrade on this ticket and gave him his boarding pass and sent him on his way. Of course he flips open his cell phone and immediately calls VP Karen. Within 2 minutes the phone at the check-in desk rings and it's VP Karen authorizing me to override the policy to upgrade SB to business class with no upgrade coupon required if there is room. The flight that day wasn't that busy and only one person booked in business class, leaving 5 open seats. I was really irritated, but I begrudgingly put SB on the upgrade list anyways. He returned to the check-in counter and picked up his standby boarding card and gave me that smug told you so look. But then what VP Karen said clicked with me, if there is room. The next passenger I checked in was a super nice lady, big smile, friendly, please and thank you. Oh, thank you so much for checking my bags to my connecting flight, that's so nice of you. I was taking my time and we were chatting a bit since it wasn't that busy. She was a teacher going on a trip to see her family and it was her first visit with them in over a year and was going to meet her new little nephew for the first time. She was overjoyed just to have the time off to travel. I typed in a few things into the computer to make it look like I was checking something about her connecting flights and then said, oh, you have been selected today to receive a free upgrade to business class. She was shocked. I've never flown business class in my life. This is so amazing. At that time we were rarely questioned if we upgraded someone without a certificate. Over the next 20 minutes I found excuses to upgrade 4 other passengers, one who worked for one of our top corporate accounts, one who was legitimately a frequent flyer, can't remember the other reasons, but by the time I went to board the flight I had to tell SB that I was sorry but business class was full and couldn't offer him an upgrade today. The teacher I upgraded profusely thanked me again when she boarded with the rest of the business class passengers. Little did she know that it really made my day also.